Hello, everybody. I hope you're well. I'm Hiramoni, and welcome to Get Set Global. Um, Today, I have got a little clip to start to show for you, and here it goes. Hello, everybody. I thought I'll do my introduction outdoors today because autumn is beautiful in England. To give an introduction about today's guests, they are young, vibrant, and boisterous, and they all have one thing in common. They are second generation global Assamese, born to an Assamese family but raised abroad. One culture at home, another culture outside home, known as ethnic minority but representing the majority as equals. Do they find it all a bit of a clash? Clash between their environment and their ethnicity? Does it create confusion about their identity once in a while? Or do they think diving in and out of cultures allows them to be more open minded, maybe more inclusive? Do they think that continually seeing society with two different viewpoints actually is supremely creative place for them to be? I want to know their viewpoints. I also want to know if they feel a sense of belonging to their Assamese origins, their interactions, their closeness with their family, their relatives back home in Assam. Today's show is also going to be about fabricating Assamese connections, conversations with interesting stories, some possibly with humor, some possibly with warmth. It's time I introduce my guest for today's show. My first two guests are from Australia. My first guest, 21-year Anshul Borua from Sydney, Australia. Born to an Assamese family, Anshul is a university student doing his bachelor's degree in finance and economics. He also works as a third-year cadet at UBS. Anshul loves music, plays the drums and guitar, and calls himself an extrovert. My next guest is also from Australia, 19-year-old Radhika Kolita, a second-year university student studying commerce and finance. Born and raised in Canberra, Australia, she also comes from an Assamese family. Along with studies, Radhika works part-time in a retail store. She loves bowling and going to the gym. All right, quickly, I'm going to invite Radhika and also Anshul. Hello,
Hello.
Radhika. Well, hi. Ruba, let me get Anshul as well. Hi, Anshul.
Hi Mahi, কি খবর?
Very good, very good. Hey, listen, lovely to have you both here today. It's so wonderful. Thank you for being here. And it's 1:30 at night, midnight, and you guys are chatting to me. So I think that's really cool. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank
No,
you
Okay.
for
thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you for
Awesome.
the opportunity.
Not at all. So Radhika, I would start with you. তুমি অসমীয়া ক'ব জানা নহয় জানো ঘৰত?
পাৰো অকমান এনে মোৰ ঘৰতত ক'ব পাৰো, but like I'm not very confident, but
Mhm.
ক'ব পাৰো
ক'ব
মোৰ
পাৰা,
family
lovely. Okay,
oh
good stuff, good stuff. Huna, so my first question is for you is this. So growing up in Australia to an Assamese family means you were experiencing or you are experiencing two different cultures parallelly. Now, have you had times when your values clashed? Because did you think, or do you think that because you grew up in a different culture to your parents, so sometimes you have got a different way of looking at things to them? And also, I have a personal question for you, and I think you're fine for me to ask that. That if you date or marry someone from other ethnicity, what do you think? How would your parents react?
So I think definitely in Australia and Assam, they're very different cultures. You can tell just from the way we speak, the accent and everything. There are definitely times where like our values have clashed, definitely. Mum, my parents both came from Assam, like they grew up there. Here it's very different, the culture, the society, like different just everything. Like people will come here just casually to the house, things like that. Whereas that's not very common and mum gets very confused sometimes. Or yate mu aita ahise once and she was bargaining
Oh,
Ahoma Prahise
good
and she was like bargaining Tai
Okay.
Guwahati Otake.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so Tai ahise yat and then she was bargaining with the salespeople thinking she could make a deal when that doesn't happen here. So there are definitely times where there is a big difference, but I think just it's all about learning. Like, but I teach mum things, mum teaches me things.
Yeah.
Together we are growing as we grow up together, and mum raises me definitely.
Yeah.
When it does come to dating, I haven't reached that point yet. I'm not sure, but I know that mum and like both my parents have always been supportive. And when the time comes, I think they'll be okay with it. Definitely just because it's yate, like there's heaps of different people, different cultures as well.
Yeah.
It is a lot harder to just stick definitely to one. But I know that the support that they've given me so far, I don't think it'll stray when it comes to something like interracial dating or dating with different cultures. Yeah.
All right. That all sounds good. I mean, you have said that obviously because your parents come from a totally different culture, so values will clash. Aru tumi je kola tumar aita ahi pelai bargain korise Australia. It's very interesting. It's nice to see all of that, but it also gives you that, I think, idea that India gole tumi bargain koribo pariba because it's
Oh.
it's okay there.
I don't know if I'll be good at it, but I try. Get it down 10 rupees.
Good stuff. Anshul, same kind of question. কিন্তু তাৰ আগতে সুধিব বিচাৰিছো তুমিও ধুনীয়াকে অসমীয়া ক'ব জানা নহয় জানো?
অলপমান পাৰো মানে তুমি আপুনি সিমান লেভেলত নাই পোৱা এতিয়ালৈকে মানে the correct context and all but ইয়াতে মানে ঘৰতে দুটা মাৰ দেউতাই encourage কৰে অসমীয়াতে কথা ক'বলে এইকাৰণে মানে সেইটো at least colloquially চলি যায় আৰু ভালকে
তোমাক অসমত সবে বুজি পায় ঘৰৰ মানুহে, which is very nice. না তুমি অসমীয়া শিকোৱাও, so I'll come to that, but before that I wanted to know how has it been for you as well growing up with two different cultures and your Australian set of friends? Do they get along with your family who are obviously from Assam? And also, do you see that you probably interact slightly different to your Assamese set of friends in Australia to how you would interact with your Australian friends? And I think similar kind of question for you as well, that if you date someone from other ethnicity, how would that be for your parents?
Sure. Bear with me because I probably have short-term memory loss and I won't be able to remember all the questions. So you might have to repeat them. But in terms of the cultural element, or you were talking about the clashes, I think we're very lucky that because we're brought up with these two different cultures, you know, Radhika might agree as well, but we're in such a privileged position to almost pick the best traits of both cultures and then apply that to, you know, our own things and also see, you know, where you know, Australian or Western culture might be a bit weaker and where our Khmer culture might be a bit stronger. I guess the biggest difference for me has to be like some of the cool Australian values, like, you know, mateship and acceptance of diversity and that sort of stuff is something that I try to internalize. But then if I compare it to Ohomia, like, you know, we're very accommodative. My parents are very accommodative people and they're very welcoming. They treat guests like, you know, they're God or next to God. So that sort of stuff is, you know, sometimes when I go over to one of my friends' houses or something, they'll be like, oh yeah, the pizza's in the oven. Just if you get hungry, heat it up. And then, I'll be here at home and, they'll be serving food, food after food after food, or, sa kabine, and they'll keep asking, like, my
Yes.
friends about that. But that's why my friends love them as well. They always say when they come over, they're never not well fed, at least.
Oh
And
no, fun happened. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. Well, actually, one of the funniest, I guess, sort of cultural clashes has to definitely be the timing thing. And this might not be an Ohomia specific, but more an Indian thing. But in the Western, well, in Australia, if someone invites you over for dinner at 7:30, or my friends invite me over for dinner at 7:30, that means that you're at the door, knocking on their door at like 7:30 on the dot.
Yes.
But when it comes to, like, Ohomia or Indian culture, probably, they say 7:30. It means you leave the house at 7:30, or like,
Or whatever you like.
yeah, it's whatever you like, and it's like you're not expected before 8. If you come before 8, they'll be like, "What are you doing? It's like, well, you said."
I mean, on the radio one, yeah, right. You're right. Yeah, totally.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah. No.
No, I think everything I'm hearing is more positive from you, because you're saying that getting exposed to more cultures means more understanding of different cultures, more to offer. And I think that also helps in terms of respecting other cultures, diversity, and it just only allow you to be more liberal as you grow older and older. So it's all really good stuff there. Radhika, I know that because I have seen your videos, you get involved with events that are organized by the Assamese community in Australia. You have done Bihu, the dance. You have also emceed events. So I want to know, is it because it is fun, or is it because you feel close to the communities? So what is it? And now that we are talking about Assam, I also want to know, যেতিয়া অসমলৈ যোৱা, what do you look forward to? আটাইতকৈ কি ভাল লাগে অসমত যায়?
So, like, when, like, at home, definitely we try to keep everything as, like, authentically Assamese as possible. Kwasa, so, like, it's very similar to how our home is back in Assam as well. Like, just like the environment, how we communicate, everything like that. So going to events and things like that just means I'm kept more in touch, I think, with like the Assamese community, with just my culture itself. Definitely growing up in somewhere that is in Assam, it is hard to try and keep in touch with your own culture and your upbringing, but doing events like emceeing or doing Bihu, it just makes me like remember my roots, remember where I'm born from, remember how like mum is and everything. It just makes me feel a lot closer, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially when I can't go and visit Assam and things like that. This is compensation for that, definitely, with the culture. Yeah. And then
Go ahead.
Yeah, going to Assam is a different story. Aita Sobtatas going. We went to Kajiranga, like seeing all the fields, eating sugar cane off the cane, things like that. Things like that you can't do here in Australia, definitely.
Yeah.
So it is fun.
Nice. Okay, so you are saying that to me, man, community logot contact or thaka, but you like to be a part of it, because even if you're far away from Assam, but at least that's your way to show that you represent, isn't it? And what you said to me, Ohomot Gole, those are such beautiful things. Rasta jai thakute, you can buy sugarcane on the road and eat, and oh, that's so beautiful. But মই জানো যে তুমি you enjoy Bihu dance. I've got a clip which I would like to play, if that's fine with you. Is that okay?
That's like, yeah, right. That's fine.
Let me play it. I enjoyed that. That is nice, Radhika. So have you been learning Bihu for a while? Yeah, I know. It is really good.
I'm
Lovely.
I might not be the best dancer. I definitely enjoyed though, and I've been doing it for a couple years. Ma's a great teacher,
I could
definitely.
see that. I could see that you enjoy, which is phenomenal. Coming to Anshul. Anshul, Bhahaghar is a great concept in Australia where second and third generation of Assamese children are taught the language অসমীয়া শিকোৱা যায় আৰু তাত তুমিও অসমীয়া শিকোৱা ল'ৰা ছোৱালীক, which I think is fantastic. Really, it is. So I want to know, is it because it's important to you because you spend time in it? And also talking about Assam, also let me know your experience of visiting Assam. Aru Kihika, do you learn anything from peers of your age who are from Assam? Lots of
Yeah.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah, again, like short-term memory loss, but I think I've got all of them this time.
Right.
No, so I guess growing up, মানে অসমীয়া কোৱাটো obviously বহুত focus আছিলে আমাৰ ঘৰত. So that sort of angle, it's something that comes a bit naturally to me or my younger brother Ane as well. But the actually like learning how to write and read Ohomia wasn't something that necessarily was taught to us at the time. And so when my grand Aita came to Sydney, she's a retired teacher. She basically started with other interested parents in the community and my parents as well to teach me and all my friends and my brother's friends how to read, write Ohomia, as well as learn a bit more about their culture.
Yeah.
And so I think initially going through the process or going through the trenches as a student and then seeing how much not only I've developed, but my friends have developed because of, learning Ohomia and going to Bhahaghar, I sort of saw that as one of the angles. And like, that's something that's motivated me to sort of carry on the baton, so to speak, and teach. And I feel like there is no downside to learning Ohomia, and this is sort of connected to help me connect with, Aita, Koka, Mama, Mami, Pehi, list goes on, but it's helped me keep that connection up with them, learning how to speak and communicate with them in Assam. But that, and also I think there are a lot of other benefits. Ohomia has, again, we mentioned this earlier, but it's taught me to appreciate, the importance of culture and how culture can sort of turn and make you see things in a, different light or for better or worse. And there's actually a pretty funny story of, because Buhud Manu Ohomia no koitu yat Australia. So knowing Ohomia is almost like a secret language. So when I'm out and about with friends here in Sydney itself, like, I remember this instance after my 18th birthday. We'd all gone to the city, and here the drinking age is 18. So, like you'd all go on party, blah, 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 blah. But what happened was, we were walking and there was a crowd of boys that we didn't really like. And I'm like, I was out with Assamese speaking friends and I was just like, বল ইয়াৰ পৰা যাও এইবোৰ মানে অৱস্থাটো ভাল দেখা নাই এইবোৰ কেইটামান বটলা লৰা ওলাইছে নিচিনা লাগিছে মানে very colloquial, but like all of us got the gist and we're out, and we slowly sort of broke off without having to cause much of a scene or get anyone angry. And I think my passion for teaching or helping guide others to develop their own passion for learning Ohomia stems from these benefits that I see. There are definitely so many more capable teachers. I told you, all these contextual things. I sometimes worry I'm not teaching them the right thing, but no, I think where I can add value or what I want to do is really instill a passion for learning the language, which is, something that I think I can share from my experience growing up here, learning Ohomia. And it's as opposed to having it enforced upon you by like a parent or something. It's like when you see that value, you stay more motivated and you appreciate it. And sorry, I've waffled on, but that's
no, that's fine. But I think you also, what you have said, I really value that when you teach, that's like the best form of learning as well. So tumi shikai asa mane tumar Ohomia bhal hoi goi ase. So that's a very positive apart from everything else that you have said. Well, good on you. Good on you. Yeah. Did you want to quickly touch upon your experience of Assam? I mean, when the time jaise, but do you
Yes, yes. Sorry, I'll keep it brief. No, অসমত because অসমীয়া ক'বলৈ জানো আৰু মানে সেইটো connectionটো আছে. I feel like when I'm in Assam, I don't feel out of place at all. So definitely very lucky in that sense. আৰু গোটেই মানে যোৰহাট মানে we've driven from like Guwahati to up a lot of Upper Assam in particular. আৰু দেউতাৰ ঘৰ শ্বিলঙতো আছিলে. So we've experienced a few different areas. So I love it. And the raw beauty that, Radhika was talking about is just something else, that can be compared to all this built stuff here in Sydney. It's a lot, clean and neat, but every block's in place, which almost, it doesn't have that same rustic sort of angle when you're in a home.
I know, clinical versus rustic. I like that. I like that a lot. Hey, listen, because you have said you love music, you play the guitar, তুমি ভাষা ঘৰৰ ল'ৰা ছোৱালীক শিকোৱাও. I have a little clip where you have played the guitar and also an Assamese song performed by the children of Bhakha Ghor. So let me quickly play that for you as well as for the audience. Yeah. And now here is a clip from the children of Bhakha Ghor in Australia. How lovely.
Oh gosh. Tried.
You did well, Anshul. That's okay. Hey, listen, I had such fun chatting to both of you. Thank you for sharing your stories. We didn't have too much time, but your enthusiasm, that you feel connected to Assamese origin, all that was beautiful. Thank you. And I have to say goodbye for now.
Thank you, Mahi.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Okay. Okay, my next two guests, they are from the UK and they are second generation British Assamese, and I have got a little introduction for them as well. Next two guests are from the UK. First, Rishi Chaudhary, born to an Assamese family and raised in the UK. Rishi is a family law solicitor. He was awarded Trainee Solicitor of the Year in 2019. He's also the president of the Leicestershire Junior Lawyers. He's a tabla player too and has been learning from the greatest maestros like Pandit Anindo Chatterjee and Ustad Zakir Hussain. He played the tabla for 8 hours non-stop to raise money for the Britain Tumor Society. My next guest and my youngest guest is Ishan Sharma, born to an Assamese family and raised in the UK. Ishan is 12 years old, a student of year 8 and academically bright. He learns acting, recitation and guitar. He also enjoys cooking and now making a YouTube channel on his recipes. Ishan loves reading, playing outdoors and teasing his little sister. Okay, let me bring them to the panel. Hello, Ishan.
Hello.
কি খবৰ তোমাৰ?
মোৰ ভাল, তোমাৰ কি খবৰ?
মোৰ খবৰ ভাল, আৰু তোমাক এনেকে দেখি আৰু বেছি ভাল লাগিছে মোৰ। মই ঋষি বা দাদাকো লৈ আহো, ঠিক আছে? Wait. Hi, Rishi. Hi, you are mute, I think. Your speaker needs to be unmute. Yeah.
কি খবৰ, ৰামণী বা ভালে আছা?
More bhal. Thank you so much to both of you. And it's so lovely to see you this way because we haven't seen for quite a while now. So thank you for being here. মই ঈশানৰ পৰা আৰম্ভ কৰোঁ ঠিক আছে ঈশান are you all okay good
Yeah.
stuff awesome so Ishan you have got different set of friends right you have got Assamese friends who are in the UK you have got friends who are of course English so do you adjust slightly differently when you speak to different groups like based on who you speak to and is that different when you speak to your cousins, your relatives who are in Assam or India? That's because you don't get to meet them very often. আৰু যিহেতু তেওঁলোকক ইমান লগ নোপোৱা, so there is not so many common things to talk about as well. So I just wanted to know, তুমি নিজকে adjust কৰিব লগা হয় নেকি how you speak to different group of people?
No, I don't really think so. About the people here in UK, I don't really adjust differently towards them, as we. It's probably because we have the same schooling techniques, similar schools, so we can relate to one another. So I don't deal with them differently.
Yeah.
But for my cousins and friends in Assam, when I talk to them on the phone, I have to think of what I say as I'm not meeting them in person. But when I'm actually there in person, I'm so comfortable. Geet, মোৰ cousin, তাৰ friend circle এটা আছে. I'm comfortable with all of them. আমি বোকাত কাবাডী খেলো, ক্ৰিকেট খেলো, কাজিয়াও লাগো।
কাজিয়াও লাগো good তাৰপিছত
এদিন এই গৰু বিহু আছিলে নৰ্মেলি মই গৰু বিহুত অসমলৈ যাব নোৱাৰো স্কুল চলি থাকে
ঈশান ঈশান এক মিনিট ৰবা তুমি পিছফালৰ পৰা কিবা মিউজিক শুনি আছা নেকি কিবা have you heard as well some music
এইটো কি আছে
ক'ৰ পৰা আহি আছে ধৰিব পৰা নাই never mind sorry
হ'ল
এতিয়া ভাল হৈছে এতিয়া good এতিয়া কোৱা ঈশান
তাৰমানে গৰু বিহু নৰ্মেলি মই যেতিয়া অসমলৈ যাওঁ মই গৰু বিহুত গৈ নাপাওঁ কাৰণ মোৰ স্কুল চলি থাকে এবাৰ অসমলৈ গৈ পেলাই গৰু বিহুত আমি গৰু লৈ পেলাই গা ধুৱাইছো সেইটো পিছত আমি পথাৰৰ পানীত গৈ পেলাই আমি নিজে গা ধুইছো সাঁতুৰিছো বহুত ভাল লাগিলে
সঁচা আৰু তুমি কাৰণ তুমি ইমান ধুনীয়াকে অসমীয়া ক'ব পাৰা চ' গতিকে তাত গ'লে চবে তোমাক ভালকে বুজি পায় তুমি চবকে বুজি পোৱা চ' ইমান দিন পিছত লগ পালে আই থিংক লাইক এ ইনষ্টেণ্ট কানেকশ্যন নহয় জানো আৰু যিবোৰ বস্তু ইয়াত দেখা নোপোৱা তুমি গৰু বিহু তাত তুমি ধুনীয়াকে পালন কৰিব পাৰা গুড ৰবা তোমাক আৰু তুমি আৰু কিবা ক'বলগীয়া আছিল নেকি নহ'লে মই নাই অ'কে ঋষি হাই তুমিওতো ধুনীয়াকে অসমীয়া ক'ব জানা নহয় জানো
নমস্কাৰ হিৰমণিপা
নমস্কাৰ
মোক ইয়ালে মাতে কাৰণে বহুত ধন্যবাদ হিৰমণিপা আৰু চেণ্টিনেল মই উকিল আৰু প্ৰেচিডেণ্ট লেষ্টাৰশ্বায়াৰ জুনিয়ৰ লয়াৰ্ছ ডিভিজন আৰু তবলা ভাদক উস্তাদ জাকিৰ হুছেইন শিষ্য
Yes, I know. Yeah, you're a very talented guy. What I wanted to know is this. Has it been hard at times growing up with two different cultures? Like, was there time or are there times when you get confused thinking why certain things are not seen as okay in your heritage culture? But you probably also have been witnessing so many great things about growing up with two cultures. So I want to know that as well. And when it's a little bit deeper, but I want your viewpoints anyways. When you look at India now and how it's going ahead and the values, I talk about Assam probably primarily. And then you look at the values which are acquired by second generation. Do you think those values can look like a bit more conservative?
So quite a lot within that question.
I know.
But firstly, just wanted to say what a great job that Unshul had done. Also, it was really great. For me personally, I feel secure in my identity. I know I'm Ohomia. I'm very proud to be Ohomia. As you may know, my mum is the president of the Assam Haitoba UK chapter, and my dad, Dr. Torun Kumar Chowdhury, is also on the executive committee. We've been surrounded by Ohomia culture since birth, so I've never felt that any confusion as such. If anything, it's a real joy when someone asks you about your culture, and you can say I'm Ohomia, and there's just so much. Our culture is just so rich, and I love being a part of it. But of course, being born and brought up in the UK, there are so many benefits as well. I would say the privacy as well, not having to worry about sharing all of your exam results with every single family member. That's always a good thing. When we talk about India progressing, yes, it is economically, politically, it is growing, but there's still quite a few things as well that still needs to be addressed. I just take, for example, because I'm a family lawyer, so I deal with divorces on an everyday basis. A lot of they're from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and it's a big thing for them to come to a lawyer and request a divorce. I think it's easier for them to do it here in the UK than doing it back home, because if they do it back home, then there's a lot of pressure in. There's still a lot of caste system still very much there in India. Killings. So I think there's still so much that still needs to be developed on in the UK. There's a lot of good things there. There's something that Anshul had said before, that we can kind of take a little bit, the best of both.
Yeah, I like that. I think we can take a bit of both from both sides. And I wanted to know your viewpoint as well, because I have spoken to other second generation people, and some of them have felt that, neither they feel fit in one culture nor they fit in the other. So I wanted to see if you felt that way, but I think you feel more enriched by having exposed to both cultures as well, which is nice to know. I'll come back to you, Rishi, but before that, I'll come to Ishan. Yeah, unmute Gorilla. Good. So, Ishan, you know that most people love food, right? Not everybody, but lots of people do, and they have their preferences. So, I want to know, like, do you like Assamese food more, or do you like English food more? আৰু তুমি যেতিয়া ককা আইতাই যেতিয়া ফোন কৰে ঘৰৰ মানুহে অসমৰ পৰা, তোমাক কি সোধে যে ঈশান আজি কি খালা ভাতৰ লগত, বা পঢ়া শুনা ভাল চলি আছে নে, আৰু কেতিয়া অসমলৈ আহিবা, এনেকুৱা কুৱেশ্যনবোৰ সোধে নে, প্ৰশ্নবোৰ? আৰু তুমি যেতিয়া অসমত যোৱা, তুমি অলৰেডি কৈছাই কিনো ভাল লাগে, কিন্তু তোমাৰ কিবা মনত পৰে নে যিটো ইউ জাষ্ট লুক ফৰৱাৰ্ড টু অসমত গ'লে, যে মই এইটো কৰিম, তেনেকুৱা কিবা মনত পৰে নে?
Well, যিটো তুমি প্ৰথমবাৰ কৈছিলা, মোৰ প্ৰেফাৰেন্স অফ ফুড, মই আচলতে ঘৰৰ খানাই বেছি খাইছো, মা ঘৰতে আছিলতো, so my taste has developed more towards Indian, mostly Assamese. মই ভাত খাই ভাল পাওঁ, মাছ is I'm a typical খাৰ খোৱা, মই কিন্তু actually খাৰ খাই পেলাই খুব ভাল পাওঁ। আগতে যেতিয়া অসমলৈ গৈছিলো, আবুমণি আৰু আইতামণি মোৰ কাৰণে খাৰ বনাই দিছিলে, আজিকালি মায়ে যেতিয়া তেতিয়া বনাই দিয়া। মই আৰু কি ভাল পাওঁ, মই আলু পিটিকা ভাল পাওঁ, ভজা ভাল পাওঁ, এই যে সৰু মাছকেইটা ভাজি দিয়া, নামটো কিন্তু সেইকেইটাও খুব ভাল পাওঁ।
তুমি জানা, তুমি যে সৰু মাছৰ কথা ক'লা, মই যেতিয়া তোমাৰ বয়সত আছিলো, তেতিয়া মায়ে যেতিয়া মানে ভাজি থাকে মাছবোৰ, ইমান ভাল লাগে, গৰম গৰমে ইমান খাই দিওঁ যে আচলতে ভাত খোৱালৈকে মাছ নাথাকে, চেচ হৈ যায়গে। তুমিও ভাল পোৱা, আৰু কি ভাল পোৱা?
মই মাছৰ পেটু, এইটো মোৰ absolute favorite, খুব ভাল পাওঁ।
Wow.
এইটো কাৰণে so many years of ঘৰৰ খানা, সেইটো কাৰণে English food is a little bland to my taste.
What about fish and chips? Do you not like fish and chips?
Although I do love the traditional fish and chips, so yes, I love that.
All right, cool. Good. Borhia, aru Ohomot gale ki, what do you look forward to?
মই যেতিয়া অসমলৈ যাওঁ, মই মৌ মাৰি পেলাই খুব ভাল পাওঁ।
কি কৈছা? মৌ মাৰি ভাল পোৱা। Okay.
মই আবুমণিৰ গান শুনি পেলাই টোপনি যোৱা বহুত ভাল পাওঁ। ফুলৰে মেলাতে গাই বহুত ভাল লাগে। আবুমণিৰ ঘৰত কুকুৰ আছে, নাম টমটম, তাৰ লগতো খেলি পেলাই খুব ভাল পাওঁ।
আচ্ছা।
আইতাৰ ঘৰত তাহাঁতৰো কুকুৰ আছে, টিকু, তাৰ লগত খেলি পেলাইও ভাল পাওঁ। তাতে ক্ৰিকেট খেলিব পাৰো, ফুটবল খেলো, এইকেইটাতো আগতে কৈছো। আৰু তাতে যেতিয়া ৰাতি হয়, জোনাকী পৰুৱা এনেকে ধৰি পেলাই হাতৰ পৰা টিক টিককে জ্বলি থাকে, এইটোও খুব ভাল লাগে।
So তুমি কি ভাল পোৱা মই কওঁ ৰবা। তুমি কৈছা যে টমটম আৰু টিকু, হয়নে? তাহাঁত দুটাৰ লগত খেলি ভাল পোৱা, আৰু মহ মাৰি ভাল আচলতে নোপোৱা, কিন্তু তুমি that was a joke. আৰু তুমি আৰু কিবা এটা ক'লা ৰবা, আইতাৰ গান শুনি ভাল পোৱা, আৰু কি ক'লা? আৰু কিবা এটা ক'লা?
মই এইটো আগতেও কৈছো, মামাৰ ঘৰত গৈ পেলাই ক্ৰিকেট খেলি পেলাই ভাল পাওঁ, ফুটবল খেলি পেলাই ভাল পাওঁ।
Yes. অতি সুন্দৰ। আৰু তুমি যে অসমীয়া খানাৰ কথা ক'লা, তুমি নিজেতো you enjoy cooking and you're doing a YouTube channel as well. So তুমি অসমীয়া কিছুমান dish you can make and upload. I will watch them. Would be lovely. আৰু শুনা, তুমি I have heard you doing recitation before. So are you going to do a little recitation today as well?
Sure.
Okay, good.
I haven't. I've done a few English recitals in my acting classes, but I've done a short one in Assamese. It was a tribute to Dr. Bhupen Hazarika. Let me set the scene here. So it's about a little boy and his mother. They are in poverty and they're living down the river. So the little boy asks his mother, "I'm hungry. Give me some food. I'm thirsty. Give me something to drink." In the end, sadly, the little boy dies.
Gotcha.
ভোক লাগিছে, ভাত দে। পিয়া লাগিছে, গাখীৰ দে। মোৰ ডিঙি শুকাই যায়। মই আন্ধাৰ দেখিছো।
Oti Hundor, Ishan, you're talented. I always knew. When I listened to you before, I liked it. And today you're excellent as well. So thank you so much. Thank you. Rishi, coming to you. Like you said before, you have a full-on professional life. You are a family law solicitor. You're also the president of the Leicester Junior Lawyers. But we also see you, like you said before, getting involved in the events organized by the Assamese community. Your mom is the president herself for the Assam Ohom Sahitya Sabha UK chapter. I want to know, how do you identify yourself while wearing these different hats?
So Assam Sahitya Sabha has been a part of us for many years, and we love attending the events, and even Ohomia events in general. There aren't a lot of Ohomias in the UK, so it's something to look forward to. And the great thing is that all our aunties are there, and it's just nice to be spoiled by them when we go. And they just it's the love that we get, and it's our, I don't know, I feel that sense of duty as well to just be their support and help, because the High Dohba committee, where it's actually really progressive, is that during this pandemic, they've been able to host a few global remote events. So we recently had Hong Corridor, which was really well received. And the committee, it's made up of strong and powerful women. And my dad's also part of the committee as well. And the fact that they've been able to embrace the technology during this pandemic and still keep us connected to our culture, it's really great. And if I'm able to help in any way, because we need to keep our culture alive, I think the most sad thing would be is if someone was to ask a second generation, what you know about your culture, and if they can't answer that, I think it's really sad, and then our legacy is going to be affected.
I like that. I like that. I think you have a role model at home as well. Your mother is doing so much, whatever capacity she can. So that's wonderful to hear. But like I said before, you have been playing the tabla since you were 4, I think. And you're so dedicated to it that you're still learning from Ustad Zakir Hussain. I have got a very little clip. I've got a very little clip, which I know will not do justice, will not do justice by 1 minute, but I'm still going to play if that's okay with you.
Thank you, Hiramanita.
Wow, I truly, truly enjoyed that, Rishi. Your talent shows through that, even if it's a minute video, but it really, shows through your talent. Thank you. Thank you to both of you for being here, telling your stories, and it was great fun. Ishan, it was lovely talking to you as well. Yeah, so hopefully we'll see sometime, guys. But for now, look after yourself and goodbye for now.
Thank you, Hiramanita.
Bye. Okay, so I have my next 2 guests. They are also second generation, but they are American Assamese, and I have got a little introduction for them as well. The next 2 guests are from America. First, Shreya Pujari, an 18-year-old college student from San Francisco, California. Born to an Assamese family, Shreya is a full-time musician studying at the esteemed Berklee College of Music. When she is not singing, she likes to dance, model, act, and learn about other cultures. Her goal is to promote cross-cultural collaboration in music. Next, Dia Nath from Arizona, America. 14-year-old second-generation American Assamese, Dia has written and published her book called Healthy Habits for Healthier You. In her book, she has shared 21 smoothie recipes for better health. Her book has been widely appreciated and is a bestseller in the entire Kindle store for paid books. Okay, I'll bring Shreya and Dia as well. Hi, Shreya.
Hi.
Hi, Ruba. Moi Dia kulo yaho. Hi, Dia.
Hi.
Hi. Lovely to have you both, and thank you so much for joining. It's really, really lovely to see you. Shreya, তুমিতো অলপ চলপ অসমীয়া ক'ব জানা ঘৰত নে ভালকেই ক'ব জানা?
অলপমান ক'ব জানো। সৰু থাকোতে বহুত ক'লো, কিন্তু এতিয়া ইমান ক'ব নোৱাৰো।
এতিয়া ফ্ৰেণ্ডছ বিলাক বদলি গ'ল নহয় জানো, বন্ধুবোৰ
অ',
ইমান অসমীয়া নহয়।
yeah.
And Dia, what about you? তুমিওতো অসমীয়া ক'ব জানা নহয় জানো?
মই ক'ব জানো মই
মই তোমাৰ
actually আমাক ইংলিছ ক'ব নিদিয়ে
ইংলিছ ক'ব নিদিয়ে ঘৰত। নহ'লে ইংলিছতে কৈ থাকিবা। Good idea. Okay, I'll come to Shreya first. So Shreya, I want to know from you, as you're growing in America to an Assamese family, how has that journey been, growing with two cultures? We also see that you get involved in events organized by the Assamese community in America. তাত তুমি অসমীয়া গান গোৱা, সত্ৰীয়াও তুমি নৃত্য প্ৰদৰ্শন কৰিছা. So I want to know, is that important to you? I mean, and if it is, then why?
Well, growing up, my family, they always go to every single Assamese event. No matter what, we go to them. And so, since they're very involved in everything, it never occurred to me to just not be involved. So, when I was very small, Bihu was fun and I would do it with my friends. But growing up throughout the years, I started to really feel pride towards being Assamese, and I wanted to get involved by myself. So I started dancing Khotriya under Munmun Medhi, and I started to sing more, and Bihu was the first stage I really got to sing in. And so it has a very special place in my heart and an important part of my life too. So
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. And then you have also said something that your aim is to promote, cross-cultural collaboration in music. And I kind of feel that you're in a great space because you are exposed to many cultures that allows you to offer more and towards your goals. So I think I like the fact that you took it positively, in the sense that I know girls of your age, they can feel a bit of a crisis with their identity when they stand out with their name, with their surname, everything. But I think you have found it as a strength. That's good. Dia, so you have written a book, like I said before, and we'll come to that. I think it's prodigious to write a book at 14, and we'll talk about that. But before that, I wanted to ask similar question, that being born to an Assamese family and growing up in America, have you had times when you felt a little confused about your identity? And do you also think sometimes that being a child of an immigrant parents, it's a different kind of pressure to do well. But you probably also have been witnessing great positives of being a child of immigrant parents or growing with different cultures. What are they? Too many questions. I hope you remember.
yeah so well there were definitely times where I felt like, am I American or am I Assamese? And I just, like, as I grew up, I started to realize that being part of two cultures is actually advantageous than disadvantageous, because you get more exposure to the world and to different people and how they look at things, different values, different ideas, and um, and it's like it helps me understand more, helps me respect culture more, and I think those are some really positive things that I got from uh, being part of two cultures. And as a child of immigrant parents, I don't really think I had the pressure to do well because obviously, well, I was pressured to do well, but not because I have immigrant parents. So what are the other questions?
I think you have actually touched upon already, but I wanted to know that what are the positives that you see of growing up, obviously, with two cultures as well as being a child of immigrant parents. But do you have more to say? I don't know because you have touched upon quite a lot on that. Did you want to add more?
Well, yeah, just to recap a little bit,
Sure.
it's it's the positives of having immigrant parents and being from and being part of more than one culture outweighs the negatives. So negatives may be pressure from society, or maybe some people don't respect your culture, something like that. But the positives are that you understand other cultures, and people are from different places and environments, and they're different themselves, and the differences is what makes people shine. So that's a positive thing. And another positive thing is like when you is that you're more open to other cultures because you're part of a different culture yourself, and then you have a completely different culture. So that's also another positive.
No, I love Dia what you're saying. And I think Shreya agrees to everything because she's nodding her head as well. Yeah, I just feel that there can be a time when you can feel a little bit lost because sometimes it doesn't feel like a part of the majority. But if you look at it, there's so many positives because you can just bring out the best from everything that you're exposed to. So, so wonderfully said. Shreya, I have got another question for you.
Yeah.
So, what do you think are the challenges, second generation challenges? And if parents could see from your eyes, from second generation eyes, I mean, what would you like them to see and understand? Again, I'm not talking about your parents, but parents in general. You know, it's a message from second generation to parents, probably. And what else I wanted to ask you? Again, this is from your experience. If you have interacted, you have friends who are of Indian origin from different communities, have you ever felt that Assamese parents can be a little bit more liberal in their how they manage the children in comparison to some of the other Indian communities? What's your experience?
Okay. So for the first one, the struggles I feel as a second generation would be just my connection to Assam and my grandparents and my cousins. Living in America, my daily life is so different that my only connection to them is through bihu or through the food we eat. So it's really important for me to keep that like every single day, because apart from that it's really hard for me to stay connected to them. And sometimes I feel that if I'm really into school or something and I don't have the chance to really be part of my Ahomya community, then I'll be at a loss of words when I talk to them on the phone, or I'll feel that kind of distance. And then for a message to the parents of, like first generation parents, the journey coming out of India and into a new country, it's oftentimes for a better life or for more opportunities or even to just provide for your children. And so there's a lot of motivation there to really do well, get a lot of money, succeed in however you want to succeed. And so that motivation is what keeps you going. But to us as children who have been blessed with the fortunes that they've given us, who have this great house, who have a great life, our motivations will differ slightly because we won't have that same drive to provide. It'll be a different type of fulfillment that we want, something else to really give our life meaning. So when it comes to larger decisions or the time that we put into things, it might seem a little bit odd to parents on what we focus on, but that's probably because of our different outlook on life. Yeah. And then for parenting and being liberal in a sense, although I don't know about parenting, I will say that I know my family, we love to host dinner parties and just be hospitable and have a great time. And I know some of my other Indian friends, they don't have that culture of just having friends over and having a blast. So I definitely found that kind of interesting. And I've just been fortunate with my parents to have independence and a lot of freedom to explore random subjects or to go to fun cities, and I definitely appreciate that. So
All right. Yeah, that was so wonderful, Shreya, how you have put things together. Because I think for you so right in what you have tried to say, the difference between first generation and second. Perspectives and aims are different. And I think it is I feel if I can sum up for you, I think it's sometimes for parents important to just give children the space to grow and make mistakes and just listen, practice listening, because yeah, their idea of life can be different. So no, thank you for putting that all together. And I know that you are a singer, you are a full-time singer.
yeah.
But you have done singing, like you have sang Assamese songs and you have done Hotriya dance as well. So I have a clip because I have such little time. So I have tried to put both together. So if that's okay, I'm going to play it for everyone. Yeah. That was wonderful. And
you.
like I said, you are talented. You are talented. So best wishes for everything that you do in the future. Coming to Dia. Dia, of course, your book. I can't wait to talk more about it. The book called Healthy Habits for or Healthy. I think it's my pronunciation. America is healthy. In India, it's healthy. So whatever. But Healthy Habits for Healthier You. So that's the book you have written, and I think you have got 21 smoothie recipes in it. Uh,
Yeah.
we live a better life. So tell me more about the book and what kind of preparation you needed to write the book. And also, what would you tell to children of your age? Why is it important to eat clean?
Of course. So, um, well, I myself, as a young, like in grade school, when I was very young, I struggled a lot with my health. I had a BMI of 40, so which was considered obese, and I was trying diet plans and exercise plans, which weren't working. So I started to believe that my health will never get better, it would never improve. And then I I started looking at smoothie recipes on YouTube, and I really fell in love with them because they're delicious. They use fruits and veggies, um, which are really great for you, obviously. And then they talk about tiny. They give tiny parts in the video where they talk about the benefits of each fruit and vegetable, and then sometimes they put bizarre ingredients like beans or cauliflower or beets, and then they talk about the benefits of those. And it really got me thinking, like, what if I made my own smoothies? So I started to make my own smoothies by looking at those smoothie recipes, and I fell in love with drinking smoothies in the morning, and that actually helped bring my BMI down. And it really motivated me to publish just smoothie recipes. I've been working on this book for 2 years, and before my research, which I'm going to explain soon, I was just going to publish the 21 smoothie recipes, nothing else. And we struggled to find a publisher. So the book didn't get published until like last month. But during those 2 years, I started doing research on the gut health and the gut microbiome because okay, so the research was sparked by a Science News article that my mom had me read. She says, read this, it's on Parkinson's and gut bacteria. And it was very fascinating because it talked about how diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's were related to how healthy your gut bacteria was. So Parkinson's patients were experiencing digestive issues like constipation and diarrhea and nausea, which shows that there's some stressing of the gut bacteria, or your gut bacteria is not healthy or not at peak function. And it talked about how the curling of the gut bacteria, which is it's kind of like denaturing proteins. So proteins are basically they have a specific function due to their specific structure. So once they lose that structure, they lose their function. So and they lose their structure due to pH changes or temperature changes, and that process is called denaturing. So the denaturing of proteins is kind of like introducing an unfamiliar substance to your gut bacteria, therefore stressing it and making it curl up and lose its function.
So
And
that's the
those,
research you did, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
because we
So
got less time, so
yeah,
I kind of wanted to know what did the kind of recipes they are and how people will be benefited from it.
of course. So
Yeah.
um, so let's tie in the gut bacteria to overall health. So I talk about how the health of your gut bacteria affects your overall health, because the Parkinson's patients were experiencing issues due to bad gut bacteria. So having good gut bacteria affects whether you get Parkinson's or any neurodegenerative diseases, and then it affects how you overall, like how your health overall is like. So a good gut bacteria means good body, you know. So eating nutritious foods like, you know, like fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, protein, those really contribute to the gut bacteria because well, they provide nutrients like flavonoids, antioxidants, different vitamins and minerals, which are great for your body and for your gut. So
Mm.
I thought smoothies are um, great recipes to include those foods that are good for your gut, and therefore I made 21 smoothie recipes that are great for your gut.
Got it. All right. So I think that's powerful because we are saying that, of course, with these smoothies that you have written, it clearly going to cure your gut, but along with that, it is related to so many other diseases, which also said is Parkinson's, which is very, very powerful. And I think you're inspiring so many people to live well, eat well. So that's fantastic. Now, is it okay for you to just read few lines from your book, just so people get an
Yeah,
idea?
sure. So I just took a small segment of a few pages. So if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so with an increase of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, frontotemporal lobar degeneration, dementia, Huntington's, spinocerebellar ataxia, etc., the question that comes to mind is there a common pathway for the occurrence of these neuronal diseases? Most of these are now being referred to as gut diseases and not neurological ones, as they're believed to originate in the gut due to the gut bacterial fauna change. Hence, our dietary habits become an essential part of our way of life that helps to keep our gut bacterial fauna intact and also prevents different diseases. So, what is the easiest and quickest way to make a healthy change? How do we know what to eat? How much to eat and when? What products are good for us? And what food should we find and avoid? Let's find out together.
Awesome. That's brilliant. Listen, guys, anyone who is listening, if you want to know more, you got to buy the book, Healthy Habits for Healthier. I forgot. Healthy Habits for Healthier You. Right. Yeah. So thank you so much, Dia, and thank you, Shreya,
Thank you
for
for
being
having
here.
me.
Not at all. And for sharing your ideas, your stories. You both are very, very talented. So, best wishes to both of you and look after yourself. And goodbye for now. Yeah. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, I have my last and final guest today. He's from the UK and he is also second generation British Assamese, and he's Dr. Ian Borgotoki. Hello, Ian.
Hello.
Hi there. I am so sorry. We got late, so I had to keep you waiting.
So,
But thank you for being here. Before we start, I just would like to give a quick introduction. So Dr. Jan Borgotoki, like I said, he is second generation British Assamese. His parents immigrated to Britain before Jan was born, and he grew up in the UK. He is a psychologist and works as a clinical psychologist at the University of Bristol in England, and specializes in mental health. He currently lives in Bristol with his partner Charlotte and their 5-year-old son Logan. So thank you, Ian, for being here. And all my questions today are going to be more from a specialist point of view. So
fine.
my first question is, you have experienced that, your British colleagues, how hard it is for them to sometimes understand the cultural nuances when it comes to patients of ethnic minorities. You have also spoken about subtle or sometimes not so subtle differences around culture. So I want to know about those challenges,
Sure.
and also from your personal experience as well, and working with people from a different range of Indian backgrounds. Have you ever felt that Indian, in fact, Assamese parents can be a little bit more liberal in comparison? I mean, only your experience again.
Of course. I think that's it's a very interesting question, and it depends, I think, on your frame of reference. So, compared to a lot of other large Indian communities in the UK and in the US, for example, the Punjabi community or the Gujarati community or the Bengali community, the Assamese community can be a lot more liberal. I think this is for two particular reasons. First of all, the sort of people that make up the Assamese community tend to be professionals, engineers, doctors, people who work in business, whereas some of the other Indian communities come from a very different part of the social system, often working in factories originally in the northeast of England, or coming over as labourers or working in bus, rail. So the Assamese community is a little bit different in its makeup, and I think it has some of the values. So there's a class issue as well as a nationality issue and a regional issue.
Yeah.
I think in terms of liberalness, yeah, I think in some respects, I think they are more liberal in some places, like, for example, the dowry system is not operated in the same way in Assam, where it is in other parts of the Indian community in the UK and the US. I think we have possibly a higher degree of interracial partnerships, and that seems to be more acceptable. Again, there's variation within the community, but in that regard, there is a lot more liberality. In some respects, it's probably more similar to other Indian communities where things like mental health aren't necessarily discussed, or homosexuality, or people who have an alternative lifestyle. So I think those things we see less of, or people are less open about them. But it's a very nuanced and subtle difference.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's wonderful to hear that, especially when you have said that because of the kind of work that we do, or different communities do, it probably makes a difference in terms of how liberal you are as well, at some point. I also want to know your viewpoints about heritage values that are passed on to second generation. So, do you think that the values that are passed on to second generation can be more conservative when you compare that to contemporaries, their contemporaries of their parents' home country? What do you think?
I think there's again a couple of things going on. So when people leave a country, they usually take the values and the norms of that time. So if you leave in the 1970s, you'll probably retain the values of the 1970s in India. If you live in the 1990s, similarly. So you often get a time bubble effect where people will keep the values that they had when they left India. But in Assam keeps on developing, and it keeps on moving forwards. So sometimes some of the, I guess, some families will retain values which are a lot more conservative than what they might be observing in Assam today. So there is that element to it as well. I think there's also another layer to that as well, where you'll notice that those immigrant values, so the people who actually do come over, will value not necessarily you have to speak Assamese fluently, or you have to be able to dance in a certain way, but there'll be a lot of, I guess, expectations on accomplishment. You'll be, there is a lot of value in being good at things, whether it's, and I think we've seen some of that today. That's a good thing. But I think it's interesting to see the values which we're aware of that are obvious, like the way we dress, the way we speak. But also I think there's other values as well that immigrants across the globe bring with them as well.
Yeah, no, this is it. I mean, I tried to understand this from one of the previous speakers as well, and I feel that way too, that it's the frozen values that you have actually spoken to me about before. Because if parents have left Assam 40 years back, they are carrying those values, so which are passed on to the next generation, so they can be frozen if you compare with what's going on back home. Another viewpoint, more from as a psychologist, do you think, or have you felt that second generation, they have a different kind of pressure, both from home front and from society as well? By society, I mean around their identity, because they stand out in many ways. And do you think because of that, they actually many times excel in their life because of different kind of pressure or identity issues?
There's a lot to unpack there. I think identity is always a problem for anybody wherever you are. I think you might get certain things with British Indians or British Assamese which might have their own flavor. So quite often people from an immigrant background might bring their own expectations about how it is to be Indian or Assamese or Bengali or Chinese. But what I think is often missed is there's no one way to be Assamese. There's no one way to be Indian. It would be ridiculous to be in Guwahati and ask somebody from Nagaland to be the same, because there are differences. And I think part of the challenge is to be the version of Assamese or British Assamese that fits with you. I don't think any culture is static. Assam itself has changed over the last few hundred years. So I think there's something there about being able to develop and be confident in your own Assamese identity. And I think that is always an ongoing challenge, because it requires a little bit of adjustment. It requires a lot of thinking through. So yeah, there's quite a lot to do.
I think I do like this, what we are saying, because we are trying to say that if you know how to do Bihu dance, if you can speak the language, that doesn't necessarily make you an Assamese. That doesn't have to be only identity, right? And the culture always keeps changing. I think, yeah, that's really wonderful. I think because we are running out of time as well, so we'll have to end here. But I'm so thankful that you could make it. I know you have a busy life, but I wanted you to be here and share ideas as a specialist, as someone who also is a second generation British Assamese. So thank you for all of that. And yeah, goodbye for now.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, goodbye. All right, so we are at the end of another episode, and this is what today's show was about. That yes, growing up with two different cultures can put second generation in a uniquely unique position. But with time, they learn to embrace it all. They appreciate cultures that much more. They appreciate the fact that not belonging to one specific culture allows them to fit in anywhere. They learn to absorb the positives out of both. And I think the parents, they deserve a huge round of applause for instilling in their children a sense of pride in being who they are and for their Assamese origins. With that, thank you for watching today's show. And also thank you to the Sentinel, sending you best wishes for a healthy and a happy life. Do take care of yourself, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.